Hey everyone, First Order here. I know that this is not the normal voice that you hear every day from the Net Alliance, and that is because he is allowing me to come onto his channel for a collaboration. I just want to say a huge thank you to him for allowing me this opportunity to come onto his channel and show his subscribers what my content is like. Now, if you like what you see during this video, be sure to click the description below to my channel and make sure to subscribe to me for all things Star Wars. Anyway, this video will be about how to make the perfect Obi-Wan Kenobi film. I'll be going into 5 details on how to make this possible. Anyway, let's get on with the video. How to make the perfect Obi-Wan Kenobi film. As most of you know, the 2020 Star Wars film was sorta half confirmed to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi film, and well, if you didn't know, now you did. There are several things this film will need in order to be successful, and believe me, this film has the most potential out of any other film coming out to be successful, and not just economically, because we all know that this film will probably make over $1 billion anyway. I want people to look at this film and say it's the best Star Wars film ever. I will be listing off points during this video, and each one combined could possibly make for the best Star Wars film ever made. Easy point to be made, but if you are asking why, well, just ask yourself this. In the 2 films that have came out in the new Star Wars era, ask yourself if you can find one alien or creature from the original era and prequel era. Think long and hard, or just listen to me, because guess what? Not one alien from the original era, other than the Mon Cala and Celestians. Everything else is new. A part of this has made Star Wars too big. Would it have hurt to put one goddamn Rodian in Maz's castle? Because I don't think so. Or what about this picture of Canto Bight in The Last Jedi? Not one old alien is returning. At least George knew enough about his own franchise to add classic creatures into his films to make it seem like a connected universe. But just look how cute little Greedo is. I know how you die.
I bet you have.
That is not how you die.
Yeah, Oscar. Yes, I bet you have.
There we go. Anyway, how do you implement this into the film? Simple. Give us classic creatures, show us good old sand people in the scene, maybe have some Jawas, or even this guy. They all seem like miserable aliens that would come to the same bar and drink their life away. Like, come on, is it that hard to make an old alien come back? Oh wait, it's probably so they can just sell toys of every new alien creature. But as someone who was a die-hard Star Wars kid who played with all the toys, I would still beg my parents to get the new version of a Jawa, even though I already have a classic Jawa from a re-release. So don't be afraid to bring back classic creatures. Just, I swear to God, if you give me some new BS alien from Tatooine, I'm just gonna go insane. Because we know what's located in that general area of Tatooine. Tusken Raiders, Hutt Pirates, Jawas, old wizards, old evil wizards that won't get over something that happened years ago, and boys who can bullseye womp rats with his T-16. That's Tatooine. Oh, for the love of God, I can't even name any of these species. Is that a werewolf in Star Wars? Why is there a giant slug that eats with his head? What are you, a Kmart ripoff Jabba the Hutt? What the hell is wrong with your eyebrows, lady? I can't handle this. What the fuck? Now, I won't go into detail what the plot might be because we know absolutely nothing about this film. Hell, this could take place pre-episode 1 and this whole video would be worthless. But as an aspiring film director, I have studied multiple parts of film and literature. I will want to present to you what I think would make a really good Obi-Wan Kenobi film. So, I'm gonna name you some things that I think would be interesting. Anyway, Act 1 should be Kenobi in his hut, Tatooine, meditating, attempting to talk with Qui-Gon but failing. Note, the last time we saw Yoda and Kenobi together, they talked about how Obi-Wan needs training in order to talk with Qui-Gon's Force Ghost, and considering this is next level Jedi training stuff that even Yoda had difficulties with, I'd imagine that it would take Obi-Wan a while to master it. So this would make the character of Obi-Wan have a learning arc in the film, trying several times to communicate with Qui-Gon but failing, and eventually when he does, it would be relieving to us, the audience, and the character. Anyway, back to the plot. And during his failed attempt with meditating, he feels a disturbance because sand people are attacking the Larstead from afar with snipers. Kenobi rushes out of meditation, runs over to his crate, opens it, and we see Anakin's lightsaber next to Kenobi's lightsaber. Note, in this shot, if I could personally direct it, I would make Kenobi's lightsaber dusty and worn, as if he hasn't touched it in a very long time, but have Anakin's clean and polished, signifying that Kenobi takes it out a lot to look back on the Anakin he knew, and to remember the good times that he had with him, and to remorse the fact that he is no longer Anakin Skywalker. Make Kenobi have a second of inner thought as he picks up his lightsaber, straps it to his belt, puts his hood over his head, and goes out to defend the Larstead. He would eventually kill them or scare them off. I mean, if we look back at the original Star Wars, when Kenobi scares off Sand People, it is almost as if they knew him, and it's the very stuff from their nightmares. Obi-Wan must get that reputation somewhere. After defeating them, have Owen Lars walk out and just stare at Kenobi. Note, we know from the comics they are not fond of each other, so this would make for a dramatic scene. Anyway, Kenobi walks back to his hut. This is where it swipes to the antagonist of the film, and yes, Vader will be in this film, but only once. Pan up, revealing a lava planet. The first note of the Imperial March plays several times until a Star Destroyer flies into frame, which then starts the march. An unknown ship flies out of the destroyer's hangar bay and heads towards the fiery planet. Note, since Star Wars loves mimicking shots all the time, why don't they have this shot almost identical to the Anakin flying to Mustafar for the first time? Cause, you know.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one.
The mysterious ship is in front of Vader's castle, and the pilot walks out. He walks to the door, and that weird guy from Rogue One is standing there waiting for him. He guides the pilot to another room that we have not seen, which reveals Vader looking out a very large window on the fiery planet. Note, for the hardcore fans, I would make what he is looking at the same place where he fought Kenobi. Have the facility in the background, and have the place where the high ground won just visible in this frame. They have a short conversation where Vader asks the bounty hunter to find a man by the name Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that's about it. I'm not going to go into detail of the conversation because that would take forever, and I'm just summing up major points that I think would make for a really good film. He flies off in his ship, and then it cuts to... Wait, wrong song. Better. Kenobi is at the cantina drinking. Note, in Star Wars Dark Disciple, Kenobi drinks a lot, so even now I'd imagine the regret and remorse he's suffering that he would treat himself to a drink once in a while. He gets up to leave, but suddenly he feels a familiar presence, a Jedi that survived? Quillen Vos. Note, so far Quillen Vos is alive. After Order 66, his whereabouts are unknown, and the amount of times he has defied the Council, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Also remember that he fell to the dark side in the Dark Disciple novel, just like to foreshadow that. They meet each other in relief and in confusion. They go back to Vos's place in town, and he tells how he survived and asks Obi-Wan how he survived where Obi-Wan lies. This will come into play later. Now I'm going to skip ahead to the climax because I'm not here to tell you my whole fan fiction, just major points that would improve the story greatly. Kenobi is attempting to communicate with Qui-Gon again, and fails after feeling a disturbance. The bounty hunter has tracked Kenobi to the Larstead. Note, in this film, I would have multiple scenes with the bounty hunter tracking down Kenobi. So it's not just he leaves and then finds him, I'm just summing up major plot points. Anyway, back to the plot. The bounty hunter has tracked Kenobi to the Larstead and now is interrogating them, asking where Obi-Wan is. Kenobi then engages the bounty hunter. They fight for a while and Kenobi is about to kill him until Vos runs into the fight, and the bounty hunter flees, knowing he can't fight the two Jedi alone. Then Vos starts to figure out that Obi-Wan is defending the boy, and then Vos senses how powerful the boy is in the Force and puts two and two together. Then Vos is consumed with fear, knowing the Empire now knows that the planet they are on, so Vos runs after the bounty hunter and Kenobi follows. And in short, Vos kills the bounty hunter and is consumed with fear, anger, and hatred of the Empire and begins to turn over to the dark side. And note,
fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
And now, Vos argues with Kenobi, saying that for their well-being they must turn over the boy to the Empire or else they'll all die, and Kenobi can't allow that. Vos is becoming engulfed in fear and anger, until Vos breaks and begins to fight Kenobi. Kenobi doesn't have it in him to kill him considering they are some of the last few Jedi remaining. But Vos defeats Kenobi and Vos starts running towards the Larstead. But then, Kenobi knows what he must do. Kenobi lunges forward and puts everything in him to kill Voss in order to save the future of the Jedi Order and to save Voss from himself. Then he does what everyone else does with the Jedi body, burns it and goes back to his home, looks down upon the large stead. Then we see a young boy running around the sands of Tatooine flying a T-16 toy. Kenobi goes back into his hut and successfully communicates with Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon asks him a question. How is the Chosen One? And then the movie ends. Now all this is pretty much pulled out of my ass, so hopefully it's good. Anyway, enough of the fan fiction. This is just stuff that I would love to see in a Kenobi film. Anyway, let's move on. Now, what I said above is total fan fiction, most likely won't happen, and to be perfectly honest, isn't that good. No writer thinks their work is perfect and amazing, and if they do, they're the most cocky person ever. That is a quote from one of my favorite directors, Edgar Wright. Anyway, back to this. The perfect example of a film that follows an old and broken man is Logan. So what I would want is to take all the emotional aspects of Logan and make it Star Wars. Make him have nightmares, make him have PTSD, make us tell that Kenobi is an old and broken man without telling us with words. Show, don't tell. One of the most basic aspects of film. Show us. Make the audience tell that he is an old and broken man. Have certain scenes where he reflects on his past, similar to the shot that I talked about where he looks down upon Anakin's lightsaber. Anyway. Now, what I mean by this, and if someone from Lucasfilm is by any way watching, don't be afraid to put content from the prequels in. By all means, make him have flashbacks to Satine's death. Also, a perfect way to add Darth Maul into this film, and to be honest, Darth Maul should have been put on hold till this film, and then make it a revenge storyline of Maul tracking down the old man and figuring out why he is here, rather than just 3 minutes of screen time in this final episode, and instead we just get some young cocky around with this even cockier droid the whole goddamn time. Just, oh my god, this episode pisses me off so much. The fight lasted 3 seconds, what the f. Anyway, add prequel content into this film and make it seem connected. The perfect example I can think of is that the old 6 films seem like Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then the newer ones feel like the Marvel movies. Same universe, that just never cross paths. And finally, the last point. Just letting you know, this part is going to be all improvised. Everything else is scripted. For my video essays, I do scripts, but everything else is just on the fly, improvised. But for this, I'm going to improvise it, because I just thought about it. I want to have Darth Vader in this film. Now, whether or not Vader is the main antagonist of the film, or if there's a background character like in my fanfiction plot stuff, I don't care. Just Vader needs to be in this film. A perfect example of this, I was thinking of Christian Harloff's theory in the, what's it called? Collider Jedi Council. That. Where he pointed out that it could fit in the storyline. So think about this. Darth Vader. The only really lines of dialogue we get with Darth Vader regarding Obi-Wan is that I haven't felt this since, and then he cuts off. He doesn't say the last time he felt this person before. So hell, it could possibly be a couple years after Revenge of the Sith, because he doesn't clarify when that time was. Also, he says, the last time I met you, I was but the learner, but now I am the master. In episode 4, and on, Darth Vader is a full-on Sith Lord, but a couple years after Revenge of the Sith, he's still an apprentice. He is still learning how to use his suit, how to use the dark side, the ways of the dark side, Sith Lords from the past. He is still a student. So if they fight 2 years after Revenge of the Sith, if the plot of the film is Obi-Wan runs off into the galaxy trying to bring back Anakin Skywalker to the light side because he can't wait that long for Luke to grow up, because he thinks deep down in his heart that Anakin is still the chosen one. So maybe he runs off into the galaxy, finds Vader, confronts him, and then tries to get him back into the light side. It would all still work. Vader is still an apprentice, and doesn't clarify when's the last time he spoke with him. Anyway, that's just another thing, completely just screwing up my little plot sideline. But to be honest, I feel like a Darth Vader antagonist film would be much cooler. The only reason I didn't add Darth Vader as the main antagonist is because I felt like a lot of people would get triggered by the fact that them fighting again would lessen their fight in A New Hope. Anyway, there are 5 points that I think need to be made in order to make the Obi-Wan Kenobi film amazing. Well, that was it. It's one of my favorites that I've actually made in general. It was a lot of fun editing this. I remember like blasting Star Wars music, and I wanted to share it with you all. Anyway, if you liked what you saw, be sure to click the description below and head over to my channel, and to subscribe to me for all things Star Wars. I do literally all things Star Wars, from Star Wars news, Star Wars movie news, from The Last Jedi, Han Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and other spin-offs, Star Wars leak news, Star Wars Battlefront, especially Star Wars Battlefront, and other Star Wars game-related news. Anyway, it would mean the world to me if you came over to my channel just to give me a chance and to subscribe. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, blast a like, and all that good stuff. And one more time, thank you to the Net Alliance for allowing me to come onto his channel. And if you are new to the Net Alliance, popping into the first time, be sure to subscribe to him for other awesome Star Wars content. And be sure to come over to my channel. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the video. This is the First Order, signing out.